Good morning, guys. Okay, today first we'll discuss about this keyword, and then we'll discuss about the access specifiers, right? This keyword. Okay. So the main purpose of this keyword is it will represent the current class object. Second. Clear. So first point is it is the predefined keyword. It is the predefined keyword, right? It is the predefined keyword, and the second thing here it represents the current class objects. It represents the current class objects. It represents the current class object. Okay, current class object. Okay. So generally, is there any example for this keyword? As we have the example, basically, for example, how will you uh, there we have the instance variables, right? Public, class, and then demo. And from here to here, this is the scope of the class. And for example, here if you take the some instance variables like string name, okay, string, and then I would say name. Next thing is int id. These are the instance variables, right? These are the instance variables. These are the instance variables. If you want to initialize these instance variables, we can initialize by using the this keyword. This keyword always represents the current class object. Every object will maintain copy of the instance variables, right? So with the help of this keyword, we can initialize the instance variables. We can initialize the instance variables. So here I will take like some method like m1 method. Okay. Here I would like to take some m1 method, and then here I am passing two parameters. One parameter is the string name, and I would say second parameter is the int id. Second parameter is the int id, right? Now I want to initialize. These two are the instance variables, right? Initializing the instance variables meaning we are filling some values with these variables. So I am filling those values with like this. Like this is the parameter input. This input I am storing in name. This is the input from coming from this method. This one I am storing in this variable name. And how will you mention this is belong to current class? You can mention with this keyword. So what did I do here? So basically this is the instance variable initialization. Instance variable initialization. I'm doing instance variable initialization. So initialization meaning normally how will you initialize like for example int a equal to some value is 10, right? Some value is 100 or 10. This is called initialization. Here also I am doing the initializing with parameter. With the parameter. Are you guys clear in the point? Next in the similarly ID also. ID also in case of ID, how can I do simply this keyword this dot ID equal to ID. Okay, this is also instance variable initialization. This is also instance variable initialization, right? So I'm saving this one, and then simply basically I will show you on uh, here. I will open the Eclipse ID and then I will show you how we will use the this keyword. Okay, I'm launching. So this is the predefined keyword. It represents current class object. If you want to initialize the current class objects, you can use the this keyword and you can initialize the current class object. So that is the main purpose of the this keyword. That is the main purpose of the this keyword, right? If you see this program basically control A and then I am maximizing. Okay. Yeah, fine. So if you see here, these are instance variables, right? Instance variables. And then I'm not initialization of instance variables is optional. I'm not initialize. So if I want to initialize, you can initialize by using this keyword. This keyword always represents the current class object. Okay, here I am mentioning with some name, and then here I will mention with some ID. Okay, and then these are the parameters. This method is taking the inputs. These inputs I am initializing with the instance variables. So how will you mention this name? This name is this one, input. Okay, this input I am storing in some reference variable. I am storing in this instance variable. Are you guys clear with my point? This name is parameter. This name is the instance variable. Okay, and I am mentioning with this keyword. What does it mean? So this always represents the current class instance variables. So we are initializing current class instance variables. Okay, the same scenario in case of id also. This dot id equal to, okay, id. Okay, here simply this is the start instance method, right? How will you access the instance method? By default, JVM won't execute the instance methods. We need to call the instance method, then only it will print. Generally, we can create the object for the current class, new demo, and then we can mention with demo, and then demo dot our my class name is m1 dot, right. These are the arguments and this is the parameters. Okay, that is the also difference. And remember, these are the arguments I am passing as the arguments, and then here I am passing some. Okay, and then save. And if you want to print, you need to mention print statement. So simply I am mentioning sysout statement. This dot name and this dot I would say name, and then you can mention with concatenation. Okay, and then after the concatenation you can mention with this dot id. Okay, now you will get the, now you will print the data. So for arranging the code, we have the shortcut, that is you can select the code and Control Shift F, that can organize the code. Control Shift F is the shortcut. You can save the file and then we can run the file. Directly you can run like this, or else here we have the option, that is the run option. If you click on it, you can run the our program. You can scroll up the console, you'll get the data. The main purpose of this keyword, which will represent the current class object, it will represent the current class object. It will represent the current class object. Okay, this is clear. After this, we have the topic, that is the after this we have the topic, that is the access specifiers. Access specifiers. Okay, generally what does it mean by access specifiers are, so which are used to access, which are used to specify the accessibility of accessibility of our classes, comma our variables, okay, comma our constructors, comma our methods, comma our methods. Are you guys clear with my point? Access specifiers are used to, which are used to specify the accessibility of our classes, our variables, our constructors, and our methods. Our methods, right? So in Java, we have below access specifiers. We have four access specifiers. In Java, we have four. We have four access specifiers. Four access specifiers. Those are like first one is public, and second one is private, and third one is protected, and fourth one is default. Okay, are you guys clear with my point? So in Java we have four access specifiers: public, private, protected, and default. Okay, we'll go with one by one. First we'll discuss about the public access specifier. So the main purpose of the public access specifier is which is used to specify global access of global global access of our classes, comma variables, comma methods, and constructors, right? Okay, so public will try with all the cases, like with respect to class, with respect to variables, with respect to methods, and with respect to constructors. We'll see one by one. Okay, so first we'll try with class. Okay, now you guys observe, I'm taking, here is one file, so here I will create one file. Simply you can create the file, text document, and then here I am mentioning private test.java. This is the file, right? So here I am mentioning private. Okay, private, the class name is test, right? Test, and from here to here, this is the scope of the class. Okay, I'm saving this one. Okay, and then where the file is available, you can simply go there. Here my file is available. Here I am opening my command prompt, and then whereas you can give the for compilation command java c, and then I am giving my file name is test.java, right? And if you guys observe what it is throwing the error, modifier private not allowed here. So what does it mean? Generally, for example, if you mention the private meaning, you can access within the class only. If you mention the class, if you declare the class as private, then JVM also how it will access. Are you guys clear with my point? So if you mention any variable, you can private, you can access within the file only. Class also, if you mention private, then JVM also how it can access. No. So if you want to access the JVM, you mandatorily always you should declare class access specifier for the class as the public only. That is the mandatory thing. Okay. Whenever you declare with the public as the class name, then only the JVM will access. Okay, JVM is the third person, right? So I would say if you mention class declared with public, then only the JVM will also access. If you are mentioning private, meaning nobody cannot access. Okay, so that is the thing. So always the class name should be public. So that is the one point here. You can remember that is the one point. So I will go to my documents and then. Mm. So the first point is we can take class as public. Okay, we can take class as public. Next, with respect to variables. With respect to variables, we'll try to see with respect to variables. With respect to variables, for example, public, and I will mention some string name. I'm initializing some values to 100, and then I will use the ID. Then we'll get the clarity of it. So demo is the my project src, and then inside the src we have the methods package, right? So in the methods package I will take control M, and then here I will take one class is student. Okay, student is having, for example, here I am taking, we are seeing with respect to variables. Okay, here I am taking the variables access specifier as the public. Okay, and then I am mentioning string, and then mm, name. I am initializing some 200. Okay, here I am mentioning student bank account details. Bank account, not a student. Can take the bank account. Bank account. Okay. Bank name equal to some HDFC. Okay, this is the one class, right? This is the one class, and then I am saving this one, and then I will create one more class, that is the test class. I will create one more class, that is the test class, and then test class. Now here I will take the main method. Here I will take the main method. Or here you can take the, here I can take the main method. So I am calling that class here. How can I call? Simply I am create the one object new, and then bank account, and then this is the bank account, right? Okay, fine. I have created the object, and then this is the instance variable. So how can I call the instance variable? You can call with bank account dot bank name. Okay, this one you can copy, and then you can take the sysout statement, and you can mention this one. Okay, and then you can save this one, and then you can print this one, run as Java application. You are getting the data is HDFC, right? Whenever you are mentioning as a access specifier, you are getting the HDFC. Now if I mention private, if I mention the private, and then I'm saving this one, and here also I'm going to here, I'm saving this one, it is throwing the error. Why it is throwing the error? If I click on it, so it will throw the error. Why? Because whenever you declared access specifier for the variables as a private, we cannot access out of the class. We cannot access out of the class. So that's why if you access the public, then you can access out of the class. Out of the class. If you declare the variable as the private, you cannot access out of the class. So if I mention with public, then I can access out of the class. Okay, if I declared with private, I cannot access out of the class. So that is the reason. Okay, but we can use public as the variables. So the second point is we can use, we can take, we can take. Second one is variables as public. Variables as public. Variables as public. Got it? Third one is we'll see with respect to methods. So this is done, right? Now I am taking one method. The method access specifier is I am taking public void m1 method. Okay. Here this is the scope of the method. I am taking some sysout statement. dummy message I'm taking like m1 method is calling, m1 method calling. Okay, done. I'm going here, and then now what I'm doing, I'm calling that method. How can I call? So simply bank account dot bank. The method name is m1 dot, right. You can click on that one, and then uh, we can run the file. Now m1 method is calling, right, meaning this method, this is I am accessing the out of the class. This is the one file and that is the one file I am accessing out of the file. Okay, if you guys observe, if I declared with private, can I access out of the class? No, we cannot access out of the class. We cannot access out of the class. We can mention public, then you can mention you can access out of the class. Okay, fine. So here the third case also, like we can take method as public. Okay, this is also fine. Next step, with respect to constructors, we'll try to understand with respect to constructor side. I am coming here, and here I am taking the constructor name and class name should be the same, right? Bank account, and then this is the scope of the constructor. Now here I am passing some source statement. I am taking the access specifier as public, and then here I am taking sysout statement. Here I am constructor calling bank account. Okay, bank account constructor calling. I'm saving this one, and then I'm going here, and then I'm saving this one. We can mention with public. You can come here. Uh, so creating the constructor meaning calling the constructor only. Okay, so you can simply run on Java application. Then constructor is also calling, right? Constructor is also calling. If I declare the constructor as private, then you can see this is the constructor, right? If you see, it is throwing the error. Why? Because constructor, if you declare as a private, we cannot access out of the class. Okay, that is also fourth point. So we can take constructor as public. This is clear, guys. As of now, is clear. Next, with respect to private, okay, which is used to specify the local local access, which is used to specify the local accessibility of classes, our classes, next to variables, next to methods, next to constructors. Okay, now here also with respect to, we can observe here. Okay, so first point is we cannot take private as class, private as class. Okay, next point, if you guys come here, now uh, now if you see, this is the bank account. Okay, here I am passing some details like bank name, and my bank is some, you can assume some HDFC bank, and my bank is having some balance, that is double. I am mentioning as a public double, and bank balance is bank balance. I am mentioning is bank balances. I am mentioning 1 lakh. Okay, 1 lakh, right? My bank is HDFC, and my bank is having the balance is 1 lakh rupees. Okay, this is the instance variables. So this instance variables now outside, meaning third person also can able to access. If the third person can able to access also, no problem. When the problem will come, when the third party person will manipulate my data. Are you guys clear with my point? My bank is having the 1 lakh rupees. So this 1 lakh rupees, this data third party person also access. Why? Because I am declaring with the private right, public right. Third party person also can able to access. If the third party person also can able to access, no problem. When the problems comes, the third party person manipulate our data at the time, we will get the problem, right? So how to overcome that problem? We need to mention as the private. Private meaning always third party person cannot access. So that's why always whenever you are writing the instance variables, recommended to declare with private access specifier. Recommended to declare with instance variables as the private access specifier. Are you guys clear with my point? That is the main thing. Like if you mention as a private, I would say public access specifier, then third party person also access, and the third party person also then manipulate the data. Then what is the use of writing our code? There is no use, meaning there is no security, right? So due to that, there is no security. So how to secure our code? We can mention as the access specifier as the private. So always instance variables recommended to write access specifier as the private. Private, okay? So this is the thing. So here I am mentioning as second point is we can take we can take private as variables. Private as variables, okay? Now with respect to methods. With respect to methods based on the requirement, you can take if you take the private, you cannot access the out of the class. You cannot take the out of the class. Based on the requirement, we will take, sometimes we will take the public, sometimes we will take the private, okay? So here the thing is we can take methods as a we can take methods as private as methods. We can take private as method, and fourth point is constructors also. We can take constructors as private as constructors, okay? These are the points with respect to private. Only for the class we cannot take the private as the access specifier. Remaining cases you can take. Okay, this is all about private, and we have the protected class members, which is used to specify the accessibility of class members. Specify the accessibility of class members, class members or subclasses within the package. Subclasses within the package. Okay. So protector is the I would say one of the access specifier generally which is used to access the class members. Class members are subclasses within the package. So for this one, we'll be having the separate package topic. There we'll get the clarity on the protected access specifier. Okay. Next we have the access specifier, that is the default access specifier. Default access specifier means default one. If you not mention any specifier, then it will consider as the default one. If you not if you not declared with any access specifier, if you not declared with any any access specifier, Then the JVM will provide default access specifier. Then JVM will provide default access specifier. Default access specifier. Are you guys clear with my point? So that's why, like at the time of writing the methods and all, so we are not taking access specifier. Why? Because if you're not taking the access specifier, also the JVM will provide the default access specifier. The JVM will provide default access specifier. So these are the access specifiers we have in the Java. Total four. One is the public, private, and then protected, and then default. Okay. You guys, can you please read these all the points? It is the predefined keyword. And second one, it represents the current class object. This is the syntax for this keyword. And then next, access specifiers, which are used to specify access of our classes, our variables, our constructors, and our methods. Okay, next, in Java, we have four access specifiers. What are the four? Public, private, protected, default. Okay, what does it mean by public? Which is used to specify the accessibility of classes, variables, methods, and constructors. Next, we can take class as the public, and we can take variables as the public, we can take method as the public, we can take constructor as the public. Okay, next, which is used to specify the local accessibility of our classes, variables, methods, constructors. Okay. What are the points here? First one, we cannot take private as the class. We cannot. We can take private as the variables. We can take private as the methods. We can take private as the constructor. Next. Next one. We cannot declare with any access specifier. JVM will provide default access specifier. Okay. So these are four access specifiers we have in Java. So at the time of writing the methods, and then if you not mention any access specifier also, they will by default it will provide the default access specifier. So after this, so with this we done with OOPS basics, right? OOPS basics, like in the OOPS basics, we done with the class and the object. Okay, and then we done with the types of variables, and then we're done with types of methods, and then we're done with types of constructors. Okay, and then we're done with this keyword comma access specifiers. Access specifiers, these are the oops basics. These are the oops basics, right? Where you have the oops principles. The oops principles are like encapsulation. Okay, first one is encapsulation, and second one is inheritance. Okay, third one is polymorphism, and then fifth one is abstraction. Abstraction. Okay, so first encapsulation meaning it is the process of combining. It is the process of combining combining variables and methods as a single entity. Methods as a methods as a single entity. Single entity. Okay, are you guys clear with my point? Is called encapsulation. Is called encapsulation. Encapsulation. I'm giving you overview of it. Like we have the four principles. What does main purpose of each one? I am giving overview. Okay. So going forward, we will discuss one by one. As of now, I am giving overview of it. Okay. Encapsulation meaning it is the process of combining variables and methods as a single entity is called encapsulation. So is there any example for the encapsulation? Yes. The best example is our Java classes. Our Java classes are the best examples. Like if you take in the method in the class, which is the declared with variables and methods, right? So encapsulation is also process of combining the variables and methods. Okay. Best example for the encapsulation is all our Java classes. All our Java classes, we can say example for the encapsulation. Encapsulation, right? So next thing is inheritance. Inheritance is, it is the process of, it is process of inheriting the properties from, it is the process of inheriting, inheriting the properties from parent to child, from parent to child. Okay, parent to child is called encapsulation, is called inheritance. It is the process of inheriting the properties from parent to child, is called inheritance, is called inheritance. Okay, in the inheritance we have the types like a single level, and then we have the multi-level, and we have the third one is a hierarchical, and fourth one we have the multiple, and fifth one we have the hybrid. Okay, and in case of polymorphism, where we have the definition, if one object, if one object exhibits multiple behaviors based on the situation, multiple behaviors based on the situation, based on the situation, is called polymorphism. Polymorphism, right? Okay, polymorphism. So here it is divided into two types. One is the static polymorphism, and second one is static polymorphism. We can say this one is the compile type polymorphism also. Compile type polymorphism also. Compile type polymorphism. And then second one we have the runtime polymorphism. Runtime polymorphism. Or you can say dynamic polymorphism as well. Dynamic polymorphism as well. Hmm. Dynamic polymorphism. Next thing is abstraction. Abstraction is, it is the process of mm, providing required information, providing required information, required information, and providing required information, and hide the unnecessary data. Hide the unnecessary data. Hide unnecessary data. Unnecessary data. Okay. The best examples, like we can achieve the abstraction, we can achieve the abstraction, we can achieve the abstraction by using abstract classes, and interfaces. So this is the overview of the four principles. This is the overview of the four principles: encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and abstraction. Okay, got it. So online guys, please share your names.